Garden update for June 30th, 2020. I wanted to point out these petunias I got here. These are all grown from seed I saved from last year. You can see there's like an unusual coloring on these, so they must have like hybridized from last year. And there's another one over here. It's also unusual. Okay, so let's get on to the next thing. Checking on the apples. Apples are coming along. I had gone through and cut off any like leaf node that had like 2 apples on it, so that we get better production, at least for all the stuff I could easily reach. And over on this tree, this one's still keeping its apples, so again, that's a first for this tree. We've never had apples off of this at all. There's not like a lot on here, but if even half of these mature, there'll be plenty. Corn is moving along. It's actually starting to tassel. So I'm just waiting for the silks to develop. With all the rain we had the last several days, the squash on this section like exploded in growth. It used to be at least half the size it is right now. In fact, I even had to come through and cut some of the leaves so it doesn't shade out the corn. And looks like I'll still have to do a little bit of that yet. But it's moving along. Grapevine. Putting on some good length, so I start tightening it down so I can start running along the fence. And on this one here, I'll do the same thing. Once it gets a little bit longer, I will tie it to the fence so it runs along the length of it. Here in the strawberry bed, I've been having troubles with like slugs and like flea beetles getting into things. So today I went through and I cleared out a swatch through the middle here to allow more sunlight to get in and help maybe drive some of those slugs and stuff away from there. So over the last couple of days, I've been having to throw away more strawberries than I've been picking. So I'm hoping this will help out. Raspberries, these are starting to ripen. I actually picked a few today. You can see there's getting there. Doesn't quite show up as well on camera, but that's actually starting to turn a little bit purple. But there should be lots of raspberries coming along. Got more coming in here. The garlic is getting very close to harvest time. And you can see the leaves are starting to die back. So won't be too much longer. I'll be pulling all that out, and I'm going to put broccoli in this location, and I'll probably have to put hoop houses and bird netting around it. These are the cabbages, putting on some size. The potatoes that apparently I left in the ground last year, although I thought I grabbed everything. You can see I'll have more potatoes in the spot. These are the candy onions. See, they're really starting to bulb up now. You're still at least a good month off, I think. Green beans, they're putting on flowers, and you can see little green bean starting to grow here. Well, the beans I used to fill in empty spaces. Cayenne peppers. I've actually harvested several of these already. And once these other ones get fully red, I will take them off too. To make a cayenne pepper sauce for hot wings with those. And then in here, these are paprika peppers. You see they're all starting to produce there. This is basil and Thai basil. I'm gonna have to come through and clip these again, because these ones are gonna start flowering, so I'm gonna have to cut those off and they'll end up branching after that. Got my first tomato about to ripen here. Probably maybe one, possibly 2 more days and I'll be ready. This is the pickling cucumbers with the rain that they've also taken off now finally. They found the fence pretty much on their own. Start climbing up on that. More green beans. Again, these are all flowering. Broccoli plants. The rain also helped them start putting on some size. This is the second planting of lettuce. You can see these are, I'm going to have to pull these out. If I leave them go much longer, they'll end up flowering. So I'll end up doing like another big harvest off of this, and then yank them out. And I'll start a new seed patch with those. These are the third lettuce plantings. These are all big enough to harvest now, or at least do cut and come again. Celery. Celery is growing along. They have another month or so. I'm not sure. I've never grown celery before, so don't know exactly how long it takes for them to get to a good harvest size. Potatoes flowering over here. The winds and stuff we had the other day, you know, they can kind of flatten everything down, but they're still all green, still going. So they should be fine. Actually got these 3 onions right here. They must have been left in the ground last year. They're probably just from one onion that ended up splitting over winter. Kind of interesting that it even made it through the winter here. Well, I'll go into the next area. This is the Concord grape. I have this tied off on the fence. And it's starting to run along it. These flowers, they managed to make it through the winter. They're starting to flower. And I got this solitary bee house. You can actually see a couple of the tubes have been filled in. So I don't know if that's the cutter bees or the mason bees, but either way they're making use of it. Which is also why I planted these flowers right here, so that, you know, if the bees are there, they can make use of these flowers right away. Watermelon, slowly starting to put on some size. blackberries are just starting to ripen. And I made a rather interesting discovery with this wild patch of raspberries, is that they're actually black raspberries. And I ended up finding a second patch in another different part of the yard that I didn't know anything about. You can see they're ripening. I actually pulled off about I don't know, half dozen or so today. Potatoes going. And sweet potatoes, as the vines are getting longer, I've been starting to weave them up through the fence. And cucumber. It's now reached the top of the fence, so if it gets too long, I'll end up just draping it down the other side, let it keep going. Pulled off 2 cucumbers on this already, and I can see I have another one right here. With another one right here. For anybody that's never grown cucumbers before, there's male and female flowers. So this is the female flower. It's got like the little tiny fruit that's on it, the flower. All the other ones, like this one, that's a male flower. It applies to all the cucurbits, like pumpkin, watermelon, squash, cucumbers. They all look that same way. These are the kidney beans. They're actually starting to produce little tiny beans on here. I pulled out some more of the beets and roasted them, and they were definitely much better roasted than they were boiled. A mixture of the candy onions and the red zeppelins, but they're all starting to bulb up. Candy onions I think will come out first. They're an intermediate day versus the red zeppelins being a long day. I'll show in regards to the male and female flowers, these are the squash. So see, that's the female flower for the squash. It's got the like little tiny acorn squash underneath it. So we'll see if they start forming or not. I actually tied this one up on this pole, and we'll see if it climbs all the way up and keep it off the ground. But all this corn is definitely beginning to tassel. In this area, I was cleaning out all the weeds and little trees that grow up through these flower beds, and that's when I came across this little patch of raspberries. So I don't remember these being here last year, but here they are now. So whether it's the squirrels or the birds drop raspberries from another area into here, they're in here now. We still have more cleaning out in this area. I did cut out some of the raspberries that were in the actual flower beds, but since these ones kind of like around this tree aren't going to cause any actual problems, I'm just going to leave them. I'll get some more raspberries hopefully in the fall on these. Well, that's it for this update. We'll talk to you next time.